Today, we are breaking down an absolute masterclass in leadership. This comes from the big culminating event for Women's History Month at Coppin State University, and you can just feel the energy. This was put together by an incredible team, Dr. Savoy, Dr. Tatum, and their community partners, Dr. Destiny Simone Ramjan and Miss Tisha Edwards. And believe me, this was not your standard stuffy panel. Oh no, this was a powerful conversation that completely reframes how we think about the journey to the top. So the whole thing was brilliantly framed by the moderator, Dr. Chanta Haywood, as a conversation across time. And she kicked it off with this powerful idea right here. Leadership isn't really about the title you end up with. It's all about the journey you take to get there. So think about this. How do you introduce three incredibly accomplished university presidents without just reading off a long, dry resume? Well, Dr. Haywood did something I have never seen before. She took everyone back in time, back to 1986, to imagine who these women were before the titles, right at the very beginning of their journeys. And just like that, it completely humanizes these leaders. You're not just seeing a president, you're seeing Dr. Bro as a college student, maybe just figuring it all out. You see Dr. Ashby, a young scientist in a lab, pushing boundaries. And Dr. Payne-Cheek, maybe as a high schooler, just starting to see the true power of education. It's such a great reminder that every single great leader starts out as a work in progress. Okay, so from 1986, the conversation takes another incredible leap, this time even further back. The first question wasn't about budgets of policy. Nope, it was deeply personal. Dr. Haywood asked, if you could talk to a woman from history, what would you say to her? And maybe more importantly, what would she challenge you to do? And their answers, wow, they really got to the heart of something important. The panelists talked about historical figures like Mary McLeod Bethune, and you could feel their deep gratitude for the resilience of those who came before them. They talked about how, on the really tough days, they literally ask, how did you do it? It's about using history as fuel to keep going. And Dr. Bro really just summed it all up with this one absolute truth. It all comes down to purpose. Because let's be real, if you don't have a deep, burning sense of why you're doing what you're doing, the immense pressure of that kind of leadership would just be impossible to handle. That purpose is the engine. All right, so after looking at the past, the conversation pivots hard to the present day. And this is where we get into the tough stuff, the messy reality of leadership today. We're talking about making those hard calls, the decisions that are necessary, but often really, really unpopular. Dr. Payne-Cheek shared this incredibly powerful, real-world example of what this looks like. Very early in her presidency, she had to make this gut-wrenching decision about a child care center on her campus. I mean, you can imagine how emotional and difficult that kind of issue is. And this right here, this lays out the brutal math of leadership. On one side of the equation, you have a child care center that was helping 26 student parents, a very real immediate need. But on the other side, you have the vision to repurpose that same building for healthcare and trade programs that could serve thousands of students for years to come. It's that classic leadership dilemma, a very important present good versus a potentially much greater future good. You know, making a call like that comes at a heavy personal price. And to get through it, Dr. Payne-Cheek held on to this powerful quote from Audre Lorde. It's such an essential reminder for any leader. If you don't know who you are and define yourself, believe me, other people will do it for you, and you probably won't like their version. So, after digging into the past and grappling with the present, Dr. Haywood brilliantly shifted the focus one last time, this time to the future. She posed a question that was all about legacy, moving the conversation beyond just managing an institution to actually shaping the world that's yet to come. I mean, just let that question sink in for a second. What do you want a child unborn to thank you for? That question completely transforms the idea of leadership. It's not just about today's tasks anymore. It becomes a mission with generational impact. It's about planting the seeds for a garden you may never ever get to see. And the answers were just so moving. They all centered on this idea of progress. Of course, they want to leave their institutions stronger, but it was bigger than that. They want to solve today's problems so that the next generation doesn't have to fight the same battles all over again. Dr. Ashby's hope for a world with fewer firsts was especially powerful, a future where a leader is just a great leader, not a historic first. And then, just when you think it can't get any more profound, the conversation comes to a perfect close. Dr. Haywood brings it all back home, full circle, right back to where we started, 1986. What a question, right? After looking way back into history and way forward into the future, she asks them to look at themselves, but through the eyes of their younger, more uncertain selves. What would that young woman, full of dreams and maybe a whole lot of doubts, think about the leader she grew up to be? Dr. Bro felt her younger self would just be proud. Proud that she stuck with it. She talked about a time she almost left higher education, but she persevered. And she believes her 1986 self would look at her now and say, "You made the right choice, little girl." Dr. Ashby's message to her younger self was just so reassuring. She remembered feeling pretty lost and unsure back in 1986, and her advice to that young woman was so simple yet so powerful. Relax. Just trust the process. The path is not going to be a straight line, and what's coming is bigger and better than you can even begin to imagine right now. And Dr. Payne Cheek's reflection was this incredible call for authentic leadership. She hopes that by just being her true self, colorful nails and everything, she's making it easier for others to show up as their true selves too. Her message was so clear: you don't have to be like me to be a leader. I just want you to be you. Wow. This whole journey through time was such a powerful reminder that leadership is a deeply, deeply human story. A story of purpose, of resilience, and ultimately of legacy. And it leaves us with one final, really important question. For you, if you could speak to a younger version of yourself right now, what would you say? What advice, what comfort, or what pride would you share? That's a thought worth holding on to. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down an absolute masterclass in leadership. This comes from the big culminating event for Women's History Month at Coppin State University, and you can just feel the